So good morning, everybody. Very warm welcome on the premises of Faculty of Economics, Matej Bel University. We are here for a one-day conference, which is a joint event of the Eagle project and BŽV ERECO network. And we joined forces, two teams, to provide you excellent content and our topics. And I would start with the facts. We have 120 registered participants. Some of them are online. And we have also students here from 15 countries, including Slovakia, Czech Republic, and also far most Colombia and other countries. We have 16 international speakers, 2 panels, and 1 keynote speech. Our topics for today would be, for the conference of the Eagle project, digital skills in SMEs, and the topics are cybersecurity, blockchain, emerging tech, data analytics, industrial robotics, energy systems. And it will be about digital skills, and the keynote speech is, the name of the keynote speech is Reinvent Yourself via digital. So the other conference, which is the scientific conference, has the topic, the answers of Europe to different crises. We want to thank you to our partners of the conference and to the organizational committee. It was a tough 1 month preparation for both teams. And we want to thank you participants for your participation, speakers, both teams, and of course the hosts of these conferences. So you can join us if you are online with Slido, and you can put the hashtag on slido.com, and also inside this building you can use this hashtag, so you can pose your questions to the speakers later on. And this is it. I'm your host. My name is Ivan Sedliečík, and I would now introduce you to speakers for the opening speeches. And the speakers will be 3, and we will start with our Vice Rector, Professor Terem. So the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan, for introducing me. Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, dear colleagues, dear friends, it's a great pleasure for me to welcome you at Matej Bel University in Banská Bystrica today. This welcome is not only mine, but I'm very happy to transmit to you warm greetings from the rector of the university, Mr. Vladimír Jadlovský, and my fellow vice rectors. We are glad to have you all here at this specific occasion of a joint scientific conference organized by 2 cooperating teams of our experts. On one hand, there is the ERECO conference, Europe in Response to Crisis, and on the other hand, there is the Eagle web conference, focusing on digital skills in small and medium enterprises. Both of these conferences reflect contemporary challenges in European society and European economics, and that's what makes the link between them. We are more than happy to have created such a synergy and to be able to share this synergy with all of you. As you may know, Matej Bel University in Banská Bystrica is maybe only a medium-sized Slovak university, but the key actor in the field of education, research, and here in Central Slovakia. The university is made of 7 faculties, most of them developing social science and humanities, but you can find a natural science in portfolio as well, and important focus on teaching or teacher training disciplines. We are dedicated supporters of wider regional, national, and international synergies and networks as we pay important attention to the 3rd mission of each university, to play a significant role in the life of the community they belong to. Indeed, Matej Bel University wants to contribute by its various activities to sustainable development of the community. Especially, we wish to contribute to interdisciplinary and pluridisciplinary discussion about forming of European area And we would like to do it not only by our educational offer, but also by research, development, and innovation activities. In this sense, our ambition is to connect and liaise with European partners, and we do it very successfully in a whole series of research projects. Among the most recent ones, there is the BRIDGE project that we coordinate under Horizon Europe and the eMERGE European University Alliance that we are progressively constructing. Of course, not only the big capacity building projects are what we support. We are keen on supporting each project, bigger or smaller, which has a potential to bring a real impact and inspiration or new synergic effect for our teaching and research. The EAGLE project, or the City Europass, the name of a few of them, are very good examples of such successful initiatives. Our partners involved in these projects are with us today, and we wish them a successful implementation of actions they have planned. Getting back to ERAGE Scientific Network, I have to say that it represents a fruit of long-term collaboration. Maciej Bell University has been a part of it for more than 20 years. Our university hosts this conference here in Banská Bystrica for the third time. The previous editions were held in 2002 and then in 2015. In the first one, we discussed the European construction and its different models. In the second one, we discussed how to make Europe stronger by renewing its political, economic, entrepreneurial, and educational structures. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I wish you all a lot of powerful and productive moments at this scientific event. May it bring you many new ideas, new cooperations, and new partnerships. Please feel at home at Maciej Bell University and have a very pleasant stay in Banská Bystrica. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now the next speech would be from Katarína Chovancová, who is the leader of EAGLE project here in Maciej Bell University.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, it is an honor for me to greet you at this occasion at our university and at this faculty. Last time I did so as the Vice Rector for International Relations of this university, and it was at the occasion of the previous meeting of PGV network, which was held several years ago here in Banská Bystrica. Today, I am happy to greet you, to welcome you as the institutional project lead of the Digital Europe EAGLE project. As you know, Maciej Bell University is an institution oriented towards social science and humanities, and we want to cherish and cultivate the three fundamental missions of each higher education institution. Besides education itself, which comes first, of course, and scientific research, which comes along with it, there is the very important so-called third mission of the universities, and it means the community engagement of each institution. We are proud to say that UMB is the regional leader among engaged universities, because since more than 10 years now, we have been actively promoting methodologies of teaching and learning that allow for developing engaged actions. I have in mind here the service learning methodology, which we promote on the institutional level. Of course, community engagement is a very broad term. It also means to listen carefully to our partners from non-academic world, be it local, regional or national governmental institutions, be it NGOs, be it SMEs, companies, be it schools, cultural institutions, media, and last but not least, local citizens who most need to feel the impact of our engaged actions. We are happy to have created important synergies that help us develop our communities. And thus, for example, our university is a member of the Lawyers Network, which unites engaged universities across the globe. Our presence in the PGV network also has proven to be highly efficient, as it gives us space to exchange good practices on the international level and to further develop links to our regions and regional representations. The two initiatives that meet here today are different examples of our engaged actions. While ERECO PGV conference puts forward results of our scientific work with non-academic partners, the EAGLE Web Conference wants to attract your attention to the things we do in lifelong learning, or we can say in continuous professional development of specific groups of beneficiaries. In particular, we aim at experts in small and medium enterprises, and we want to upskill them in emerging technologies and technological innovations of today. It has got the highest importance for us to create these opportunities for in-field practitioners across disciplines to share new knowledge in the areas that can transform their work in the forthcoming years. We have prepared within the EAGLE project an offer of short courses in robotics, data analytics, energy transition, cybersecurity, blockchain, and other thematic areas, and we are ready to invite potential participants from across Europe to join us in this learning experience. EAGLE is a consortium of 11 partners, and it consists of not only universities, but also innovation hubs and business chambers from 7 different European countries. At today's conference, we would like to show you all the importance of new technologies and some of the new perspectives they bring. I would like to welcome you here, both on-site and online, in the name of the EAGLE team, which you will get to know this morning progressively. I would also like to thank all of our special guests who accepted our invitation as speakers and panelists. And the same word of thank you goes to all those who contributed to the organization of today's event. I wish you all an enriching experience and a whole lot of innovative ideas to arise from today's discussions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. And the last opening speech is from Ghislaine Pella. The floor is yours.
Okay. Je vais m'exprimer en français. C'est ma langue plutôt que je connais, que je maîtrise le mieux en tout cas, mais j'ai préparé, et c'est pas moi qui l'ai fait, pas celui-là, non, c'est pas celui-là. Hein. It's not this one. It's not this one, sorry. No, it's not this one. It's the other one. It's not this one. It's not this one. Leave it. Don't mind. Yeah. So je vais m'exprimer en français. Monsieur le vice-doyen de l'université Maastricht-Belt, dear Katharina, mesdames et messieurs les professeurs et collègues. C'est avec un profond sentiment de responsabilité et de réflexion vis-à-vis de l'Europe que j'ai l'honneur d'inaugurer avec vous cette 29e conférence du réseau ERECO-PGV sur le thème « L'Europe en réponse aux différentes crises ». Je tiens en premier lieu à remercier l'université Maastricht-Belt de Banská Bystrica qui nous accueille aujourd'hui et pour la 3e fois, c'était en 2015 et 2009 précédemment, dans le cadre du réseau des pays de Visegrad, devenu aujourd'hui European Research Community, ERECO. Ce changement est intéressant puisqu'il suit aussi une évolution que l'on a pu étudier depuis longtemps dans ce réseau-là. Ces remerciements s'adressent tout particulièrement à nos collègues Yana Marasova, qui est membre du réseau ERECO et vice-présidente de l'association PGV, Janeta Lakova, toujours extrêmement motivée depuis ses premières années de thèse à œuvrer autour des thématiques européennes au sein d'ERECO, et ainsi qu'à Anna Valusova, très impliquée dans la réussite de chaque rencontre autour de l'Europe. Notons aussi que toutes trois sont très engagées activement dans le projet Citéropass, qui vise à expérimenter, à imaginer la citoyenneté européenne parmi les étudiants européens, tout en les faisant travailler ensemble. À toutes trois, j'adresse un grand merci de la part de l'ensemble des participants à cette conférence, et je remercie aussi les collègues qui se sont déplacés de tous les coins de l'Europe pour participer aujourd'hui. Cette conférence nous réunit afin d'explorer de multiples facettes des crises qui traversent nos sociétés européennes. Tous nos travaux effectués au sein de notre groupe de recherche contribuent à nourrir des réponses à ces interrogations relatives aux crises. Permettez-moi d'organiser ce propos en évoquant deux points cruciaux qui marquent notre actualité et qui sont indissociablement liés à notre sujet. Tout d'abord, l'évocation de Jacques Delors comme organisateur de l'Europe, qui nous a quittés d'ailleurs il y a quelques mois. En effet, son passage au sein de l'Europe est resté remarquable par des actions concrètes de construction d'une Europe unie et surtout organisée. Son héritage nous rappelle l'importance de l'action collective et de la vision à long terme, le fameux affectio societis, ou autrement dit la volonté de s'associer, afin de surmonter les crises qui jalonnent le chemin à parcourir ensemble. Et je citerai donc deux réalisations majeures. La première qui est le programme Erasmus, devenu Erasmus+, que nous, en tant qu'universitaires, nous mobilisons pour les échanges entre nos institutions et qui, bien sûr, contribue à ce que la jeunesse de nos universités puisse se rencontrer, mieux se connaître et faire preuve de tolérance face aux différences. Le deuxième, c'est l'accès à la monnaie unique, l'euro, qui aujourd'hui encore permet une vision au-delà des nations et donc permet aussi aux entreprises et territoires d'envisager des réalisations concrètes, européennes, avec une vision à long terme. Et donc je donne comme exemple l'achat des vaccins en Europe lors de la crise de la Covid, ou encore les politiques qui sont en cours de réflexion, les politiques industrielles européennes. Ce que je retiendrai particulièrement à travers ces deux réalisations est la leçon suivante. Il est important d'instiller en temps calme les prémices d'une organisation, même parfois perçue comme insuffisante, afin de pouvoir, en temps de crise et de tempête, s'appuyer sur cette structure et réagir aux crises qui s'imposent. Cette position est-elle celle que les contributeurs à cette conférence illustreront? Ces deux journées nous permettront d'y répondre, sans doute partiellement. Le deuxième point est l'évocation du futur, avec les élections européennes du mois de juin 2024. Il s'agira là d'un moment sensible où les citoyens ont l'opportunité de façonner l'avenir politique de notre continent. Or, ces élections revêtent une importance particulière dans le contexte actuel de multiples crises, en posant la question de la direction que l'Europe doit prendre pour surmonter les défis qui se présentent à elle. Je pense en particulier aux défis climatiques, aux défis des migrations, aux défis de la défense et des alliances géopolitiques internationales. Sont mises en jeu les valeurs qui fondent l'Europe et ses peuples. À ce titre-là, je formule tous mes espoirs pour que la tendance croissante à la participation au vote, observée en 2019, où 51% des Européens s'étaient rendus, puisse se poursuivre et permettre ainsi aux citoyens européens de faire entendre leur choix sans tiraillement d'influence. Ces réflexions, là encore, seront-elles nourries par des contributeurs à cette conférence? Les deux journées de cette conférence nous permettront sans doute d'enrichir les échanges et les débats. Cette crisologie où les crises qui semblent successives s'empilent encore invite à rester vigilant quant à l'usage de cette catégorie d'analyse et d'en comprendre la complexité, afin de ne pas participer à un effondrement de cette construction délicate, mais bien à poursuivre l'ouvrage de la construction à l'image et dans le respect des peuples qui composent l'Europe. Territoires, entreprises et citoyens sont tous affectés de différentes manières, créant un tissu complexe de défis et d'opportunités. Et aujourd'hui, donc, nous sommes réunis pour y réfléchir et en débattre ici à Banská Bystrica, lieu illustratif de cette coopération européenne. En effet, j'ai eu le plaisir d'avoir quelques visites commentées et j'ai découvert que c'est à partir de la richesse que le sol a fournie, en l'occurrence le cuivre, qu'est née une coopération industrielle autour d'une technologie allemande et qu'un savoir-faire s'est développé ici, localement. Ils ont eu aussi recours à des investisseurs dont la fortune s'était construite avec le commerce lié à l'Italie et qui ont misé sur l'innovation. La diffusion en fait de cette innovation s'est faite dans l'Europe entière grâce et surtout à partir de Banská Bystrica. Donc, la référence de qualité dans le cuivre était Banská Bystrica. Bravo. Et donc, je trouve que cette illustration est vraiment intéressante. Cette expérience date du XVIe siècle. Et donc, ce qui va nous permettre à tous de souhaiter qu'à travers ce colloque, nous puissions contribuer à forger un avenir européen résilient et prospère. Je vous remercie de votre écoute et vous souhaite à tous une bonne conférence, riche en échanges et en débats. Merci.
Thank you very much, and this concluded the opening speeches. Our next part of program is the keynote speech, and it's my pleasure to introduce you Matúš Grznár, who is a former EMEA Finance Digital Transformation Ambassador at Dell Technologies. Matúš, floor is yours.
Thank you. So I was going to start with me, but I actually will start with you. So first of all, thank you. This was a very nice speech, bringing the European concept, but then down to the local into Banská Bystrica. Thank you very much. Well done. And so who do we have in the audience today? So if you think about, and don't worry, like I'm not going to ask you questions. So we have high school students, we have university students, we have the academic world, we have professors, and we have associations, we have small and medium enterprises. Now, if you think about small and medium enterprises, in Slovakia, that's 74% of the economy. If you think about Europe, that's 60% of the economy. So, ladies and gentlemen, like, this is the future of the success of Europe, right here. No pressure, okay? So let me share a story with you. And I'm not sure whether you can see it, actually.
Technical problems?
Okay, no worries. So the story goes that some of you may see this. This is a mascara, right? Ladies would know it. It's to highlight your eyelashes. Now, why would I mention that on a technological conference? More than 20 years ago, I actually used to sell these. I was a student at the Faculty of Management, and my family had a small business. They had a small retail store for cosmetic and fragrances. And so my parents, and it was really a moms and pops business, right? So it was like revenue, 100K, 200K, very small. And so my parents would actually know the customers, right? Especially those that would come very often to the shop. And I always felt, given that I was studying management, like, gee, like we have this cash register, it's connected to a computer, and yet we don't know anything about our customers. We don't know how often they come, we don't know who they are, we don't know what they usually buy, we don't have their spending behavior, we don't know what else we could sell to them. So I was frustrated. Now, if you fast forward 20 years later, I actually have a friend who works in a German e-commerce company, and they do like 30 million euro per year, and they focus on fragrances and cosmetics. And his role is data science senior vice president. The only job he does is making sure he understands their customer. He understands what else can they find out about their customers, and what else, and how can they actually use the data so that they can provide a better offering to their customers, okay? And I paused there because I wanted, again, to come back to you. So what you will see in the slide, and we will have later a poll about that, there are different generations in the audience, okay? So you have the Generation X, which is basically people born between 1965 and 1980. And if you remember...
We use mascara.
And you use mascara, right? But yes, other generations too. And so during that period of time, the PC was introduced, the personal computer, okay? Think about the tremendous change that actually happened there. Then we have the Generation Y, which is basically the people that were born between 1981 and 1996. No, I'm okay. It's just that people cannot see it, but thank you very much. Generation Y, if you think about that period, what actually happened during that period? All of a sudden, we got these GSM cell phones, or just cell phones, okay? I still remember mine. Like, I'm a young person, so maybe in '98 I got my first phone. The other thing that happened there, Amazon was actually created, okay? Not so long ago. And then if you think about Generation Z, okay, so 1997 onwards up to 2011, what you would see there, what was actually created? Google, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, a few others, right? And once you will see the slide, you will see that I don't have the Generation Alpha there, which is the youngest generation, right? And if you think about some of the emerging recent trends, like generative AI, or blockchain, or TikTok, those are actually technologies that emerged just recently, right? So think about the tremendous change that happened throughout the last 70 years or so. So given that I was talking about you, let's see who do we actually have in the audience. So you can use a Slido so that we know how many people do we have from Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z, or others. And, or we can do it old-fashioned way also in the room, but let's just try to use the technology. And for those that have not used Slido, so it's slido.com, and then you put their eagle. And we see the early adopters are the Zen generation, obvious, expected. Okay, so far we have 40 people participating. Okay, so a big Gen Z population, at least on the poll. Okay, so think again. Gen X, computer was introduced. Gen Y, Amazon and the cell phone was introduced. Gen Z, Facebook, Instagram, Google. Okay? Okay, I think we can close it here. So thank you for participating. So just that you think about, okay, from which different worlds you actually come, and what are your different viewpoints on technology, okay? Now, some of you, from time to time, get a phone call from your parents or grandparents. I do that probably like once a week. I'm trying to send this email. How do I put there this attachment? Or my Wi-Fi doesn't work. or whatever else, right? Now, if I think about my parents, when they were working in the 70s or 80s, there was 1 or 2 people on the whole floor that actually knew how to operate the computer. Out of all the workforce, 1 or 2 people. If you move a few years later, computer was really a mandatory thing. Like you had to know how to use it, right? It's not that suddenly we have this emergence of technology, right? I mean, the concept is pretty same. It's pretty same to having the question, do I need a data lake or I don't need a data lake, right? It's just a different technology, but conceptually same thing. Something that emerged, and I need to find out what it is and whether I need it and how can I use it. Okay? So basically the message here is the human-machine coexistence has always been there. Now, given that we discussed evolution in the different years, let's just do a quick poll on what do you think, if you take an average company, what do you think is the average life cycle of that company? So how many years would a company typically have? From startup, through growing, through the peak times, and then through decline, and then it's liquidated or acquired or just doesn't exist anymore. And let's see what are some of the responses. 25 years, 80, 20, 15, 10. And remember, we have different people in the audience having different viewpoints, being from different generations. And in a moment, I will explain why that is important. Okay, so we have 14 responses so far, 18. It changes, right? So far, the biggest one highlighted is what, 20 years? Okay, still 20, 25, okay, it's growing, interesting. So again, average life cycle of an average company. 10 years. I like the different viewpoints. Okay, I think we have 50 answers. Let's stop it there. So you see, there are different ideas about the simple question, what's the average life cycle of a company? Now, why is that important? This is Nadia Zeksembayeva. She's from Kazakhstan. She has done research with thousands of companies, and she is doing management consulting with thousands of companies around the globe. Now, one of the things that she was studying with her team was company life cycles and innovation cycles. And what they found was pretty amazing and pretty disruptive. So if you look at the timeline and you start from the 1920s and you go to today, so at the beginning, we had a life cycle of roughly 75 years. Average life cycle of an average company, 75 years. That's the reason why you could have a job lifelong. You could work for the same company all your life. Now, as I mentioned before, the life cycle of a company is there is a startup, there is a growing phase, there is a peak, like we are the most successful thing on earth, and then there is a decline. Now, some companies realize that they need to innovate, that they need to reinvent themselves at some point of the life cycle. If they find out that they need to reinvent themselves and they find it out in the decline phase, there is only a 10% chance that they will succeed. Most of them will fail. If you think about Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 500, the first time it was tracked was 1955. Since 1955, 89% of those companies don't exist. Think of Nokia, think of Kodak, think of a few others. Now, what has changed is that in the 90s, the cycle got reduced. It's no longer 75, it's actually 15 years. Actually, it was 15 years. And so if you are smart enough, you know that you don't reinvent during decline. You actually reinvent where you are at the best of the game. You are the most successful company. That's the point where you start reinventing yourself. So that's why at that point, every 7.5 years, on average, you should reinvent your company. And then coming to this point, with the 90s, with the introduction of the digital technologies, with the introduction of the internet, it shortened again. Cycle is right now 7 years. And I'm not talking about product cycle, I'm talking about company cycle. Changes of business models. Think of your mobile phone operator that used to be a telecom company, then all of a sudden they provided internet, then all of a sudden they provided TV, and then they had to reinvent how they're going to price that, how they're going to package that. Those are those changes of reinvention, okay? Now, this is probably one, if you want to take one thing out of this today, this is it. Because this has a profound impact on the way how we educate, on the way how we do business, on the way how we actually prepare ourselves for our careers. So I let you digest that for a moment. Now, let me give you an example, another example. BMW. Most of you probably know BMW. Probably most of you don't know it started as an aircraft engine manufacturer. Then it produced motorcycles. Then it produced cars. And most recently, it has a business with Mercedes, which is called Share Now, and it's about transportation. Because they realized at some point they will not be selling cars, they will be selling transportation as a service. So just to give you a perspective on an example. Now, I mentioned before that it's going to change the way how we think about careers and career planning and skilling and upskilling and training and development. So we started with the different generations we have in the audience, right? Now, and this was again something that it took me a while to understand this. So Generation X, they usually would have 2 to 3 careers in their life. And I'm not talking jobs, I'm talking careers. Like, I'm a finance manager, and then all of a sudden I'm a teacher. Okay, 2 different careers. Now, Gen Y, 4, 5 careers. Gen Z, 5, 6 careers throughout their life. So what this means, a lot of reinvention. A lot of reinvention. And that reinvention will take reskilling and upskilling. And that reinvention will need you to be smart about your finance. Okay? Now, I don't want to scare anybody, so let's see what we can actually do about it. But before we do so, just an example. So this is a friend of mine, Marian Drensky. He used to be managing director of ACASE, Central European company. Now, 5 years later, I met him, and he was a musician, Michael Hopes. Now, another 5 years later, I met him again, and all of a sudden, he was having this restaurant, Spajza, in Bratislava. 3 different things within 15 years. Just to give you an example of what I mean. And now, so again, I don't want to scare you. So what can we do about it? It's dynamic, it's complex, but we still can do something with it. So first of all, resilience. That's why you hear from all the places, resilience, mindfulness, you name it. It's really just so that we can gain that skill, that we can gain that ability, that we don't go crazy from all this dynamic. Then a shift in the way how we see education. It's going to be the ability to fail fast and learn faster. It's not about going to be, hey, don't do a mistake. No, you're going to do many mistakes, and that's fine. As long as you're not managing a nuclear power plant, that's okay, okay? So you can do mistakes and you learn, because that's also how kids learn, so that's perfectly fine. And then the last thing is digital literacy, which we will talk today.
Very sorry to disturb you, but I want to excuse the vice rector who has to join another meeting in a couple of minutes. Sorry for this interruption. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so let's just deep dive into some of these, okay? Let's start with resilience. So you can do something. You can actually, there are different books, there are different podcasts, there are different courses where you can learn more about yourself. Great book is Search Inside Yourself. It's actually written by an engineer from Google that wanted to understand why meditation works. Being an engineer, he wanted to understand, so he really drilled down into a great book. Mind Power, another good one, and I'll give you a specific example. Wayne Gretzky. Probably most of you or many of you know him. Well, not most of you because I see high school students, so many of you know him. One of the best ice hockey players in the world. 20 years in NHL, 200 plus points. Now, what was different about him? When they asked him, hey, Wayne, how do you actually do that? He told them, look, I see the score before I hit. I already see it there. So that's called visualization. You visualize the end result. For example, I was visualizing myself, how I'm here standing doing this presentation, and it's over and everybody's happy. So that's visualization. The second thing is seeding. Not only you visualize, you actually think about the feelings you are going to have. How happy you are going to be. What award you are going to get, being an ice hockey player. Okay, so that's an interesting concept, how to think about what you can actually do with your mind. And it's only thanks to the neuroscience that we have in the most recent years. Now, the next thing, fail fast and learn faster. So especially in this country, somehow in the education system, we were told, don't do mistakes. You're going to be the worst person ever if you do a mistake. And we need to change that. And it's hard to change, but we will need to change that. Because mistakes are actually the stuff that actually moves you on. So, so that's one thing. The other thing, given the dynamic, given that the speed that you have seen, we are going to learn in small chunks. It's going to be incremental. I learn something small, and I try to apply it in my life. And I learn again something small, and again try to apply it in my life. It's not going to be these big blocks of knowledge. And then the third thing is that education will need to change, and you will have different channels, even YouTube. Although you need to be careful what to watch there, right? So an example. So this is Šimon Smrtić. He has this restaurant which is called Californian. The way how this was set up was that he was working in restaurants, he was working in bars, and he kind of liked that job, right? And so he thought that, okay, one day I will have a restaurant. And what he did, he actually watched hundreds and hundreds of hours of YouTube of different foods that he could actually cook or bake. And then he tried it, and he failed, and he tried again, and he failed. And with this iterative process, he actually achieved the mastery at the point where he can actually open his own thing. So again, an example of what I mean by fail fast, learn faster, do mistakes, and go on, move on, right? Next, there is a lot of discussion about talent. Now, in Slovakia, we used to have a tennis player, Dominik Hrbatý. One thing that Dominik would tell you is that he is not talented. He is not Roger Federer, and yet he was in the top 20 worldwide. And so what Dominik would tell you is that, well, if you don't have talent, you need to put practice into it. You need to put there the long hours. So what this is about, so Angela wrote this great book about grit, and it's about effort. There is a different book which tells you that if you want to be world-class in whatever you want, music, sports, business, whatever, it requires 10,000 hours. You put 10,000 hours in whatever you want, you're going to be world-class. It's 3,000 hours per year if it's in 3 years. It's 10 hours a day. Okay, just to put this into perspective. So with that said, the good thing about effort, when you put those hours into whatever you want, is that you are doing two things. You are improving your skill, and you're also getting the result. So it's a great payoff. So effort actually counts twice. And so, last but not least, I mentioned three things. One was resilience, the other one was the ability to learn fast, third one is digital literacy. So again, let's use Slido. Let's see what you think when I say digital literacy. What comes to your mind? Education about digital world. Safety measures, skills, okay. What else? Computers. Ability to benefit from using technology. Critical thinking, PC games, e-commerce, online communication, AI. Safety in the online space, that's an important one. Okay, we have 20 responses. Information, that's key. Okay, 30 responses. And I will talk more about some of the digital technologies, and the whole conference is actually going to be about that, so we'll all learn more. Okay, so let's maybe close it there. So thank you very much for all that participated. So let's see, when I say digital literacy, what could be some of the technologies and what could be some of the starting points. So I'm not going to focus on the left side because you've seen it in the news, you've seen it in different places. But maybe if you're a business or you are thinking about your career, think about automation. Think about things that are repetitive and there are big volumes, because those can be done by robots, even software robots. And sometimes it's as simple as if, for example, you're using an Excel file, you don't need to know anything about coding. You can actually record your macro in Excel. You can record the steps that you do every Tuesday, again and again and again and again. And you have that macro that will do it for you. Data visualization. So I started with this mascara story at the beginning, right? That we didn't know anything about our customers. Now, data visualization is really about, first of all, having the data and then visualizing it so that you have new insights, so that you have better and faster decisions based on the data. And some of you may have heard about Microsoft Power BI. Artificial intelligence. So obviously, you've heard about ChatGPT, you've heard about Bing, BART, and a few others. But it's not only generative AI, it's also machine learning, it's artificial intelligence in general. And then Web 3.0. So some of you that are older remember Web 1.0, and then we had Web 2.0, and now we're going to have Web 3.0. Now the difference will be that, and I'm actually going to discuss that, the difference will be that it's going to be about different blockchains. It's going to be different blockchains that you actually use, and for that you will need to be identified, which means you will need to have a digital token, and that will be in a digital wallet. Now, why is that important? Because many of these things that you see, you already have or you already do. You have your ID, you have your passport, you have your driving license, you buy tickets, you share cars, you go to the gym. All those things, you actually have a ticket or some kind of proof. Those proofs will be digitized. Those will be digital tokens on different blockchains. So that's the world ahead of us. And that's why it's important to a bit understand how it actually works. So to conclude, one thing I want you to remember from this is this life cycle and how it actually got accelerated, because that's a profound change. So the world really got crazy dynamic. And it got more complex. The good news is we can do something with it, which means we have conferences like this one, we have projects like Eagle, we have partnerships between universities, businesses, associations, where you can actually share. We are humans. We are about to share what we learn. That's how we actually succeed. Next thing, innovation hubs. Once you learn, let's try it out. Even if I don't know everything about it, let's have a small pilot. Let's have a small proof of concept. Let's just try what I learned and see if it works. Maybe I will fail. Somebody will help me. And then last thing, continuous reinvention, right? This is not be over at any point. It's going to just continue. You will need to reinvent. Okay, so with that, I will leave it there. Hopefully this is going to be a great conference today for all of you. If you have any further questions, just let me know. Thank you.
I would like to thank Matúš Grznar for a wonderful keynote speech, and we have 3 minutes for maybe 2 questions. So we'll see the Slido if you want to pose the question via Slido, or raise your hand and our colleagues will find you with the microphone. Slido is active also via online, so if you're connected via online, you can post a question online. So I will ask my colleagues, the hand mics are there. If you want to pose the question in the room, please do so and we will find you.
Probably I should have said I'm not an IT guy. I'm a finance guy. There is a question there. I'm a finance guy that used to be a digital transformation ambassador for 5 years in finance. Okay, never mind. You can actually tell me the question. I will repeat it. I will repeat it.
Thank you for excellent presentation. It was amazing. And my question is very easy. How is your experience with the startups for the young people to try to go through? Actually, to compare to Israel's, where the people are starting to do it very often, try just to know what is the enthusiasm for this?
Great question. So the question is, how about startups? Right? Did I get the question right? I hope I did. So startups would not say reinvention. Startups, in their DNA, they have something which they call pivot. So they pivot immediately. They try something, they pivot again, and at some point they will be successful with something that was not there at the very beginning. So startup, the way how they succeed is that they need to have an ecosystem. Or let me put it differently. Ideally, they have an ecosystem. We have seen also startups that succeeded without that, but the ecosystem helps them so that they share the ideas. The thing about startups is that, and one thing each startupist will tell you is that you have an idea, go and talk to others, get feedback, and try it out. So for example, I have a different project, it's about education, and I don't have all the answers, but I started just to gather the feedback and see how far can we get with the vision that I had. So it's ideas, sharing, getting feedback, trying out, the innovation hubs help, right? Because if you need technology, like if you need a 3D printer or other things, sometimes the innovation hubs will offer that, or universities will offer that, right? Universities would have different partnerships where you can actually, you come with your idea, you try it out. There are these hackathons for startups where you can actually go to a hackathon. By the way, Slido started like that. Actually, I know the guy that started Slido. He actually went to a hackathon. He had this idea. He joined 3 other guys. They tried it out, and then they grew and grew and grew and grew, and at some point they were acquired by Cisco. That's it. Thank you. Great question. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, for sure. I know just the first question is every time the most important because they have the time to ask again. So
Well done. Well done.
the young people, that is the future for digital.
Thank you very much for the question. And if anybody in the room would like to place second and last question, there's opportunity, yes. So please use the mic because we have also online participants who would not hear if you speak just in the room. So this would be last and concluding question for your
I
keynote
wanted
speech.
to ask, you talked about data analysis and kind of like the personalized shopping experience. I wanted to ask if it kind of isn't a slippery slope if companies adopt this model. Doesn't that result in like data farming and illegal data selling across the internet?
That's a great question, and thank you for asking that, because one of the things that you see in Slido was using it safely. And the one thing that is great about the European Union is that it introduced GDPR. And we all can hate in the browser that it pops up and we need to click it, and I understand that, but it's important because that set the standard. And by the way, it actually set the standard for the whole globe. So to answer your question, there are debates whether, like, who should be the owner of the data? Whether it should be you because it's your data, or it should be the ownership of the companies. I don't have an answer for that, but I know that safety is important. I have 2 kids, and I see how digital technologies can do also bad stuff to people, right? So, but I'm sure that we will figure it out eventually. Thank you.
So, thank you, Matusz, very
Thank
much
you.
for your keynote speech. Please give a big applause.
Thank you.
And according to our schedule, now we will have a 30-minute break when we invite you for a coffee and cake in the room CAP1, which is on the same floor in this building. You just go next to the reception, and we meet 10:30 for first panel. So thank you very much for this first part. Once again, half an hour break. Please come back at 10:30, and you are all invited, including students, for coffee and cake in the room CAP1. Thank you very much.
We have some technical issues, so please wait like Test, 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 okay. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome at the panel section, panel discussion. My name is Jan Hunyadi. I'm associate professor here in Matej Bel University. Let me also introduce you other speakers of this panel. Firstly, Dagmar Omelková, sales director at Gamma Company, Slovakia. Then Professor Enrique Sierra, University of Burgos, Spain. Stefan Oreško, expert on AI ethics and data ethics at Kinit Project, Slovakia. And then we have also speakers who are remotely connected online. And they are Professor Darius Štilitis, Dean of Faculty of Public Governance and Business at Mykolas Romeris University, Vilnius, Lithuania, Dr. James Sweeney, University of Limerick, Ireland, and Dr. Jarkko Paavola, Turku University of Applied Sciences, Finland. First panel will be devoted to cybersecurity, emerging technology, robotics, AI, and data analytics. So you can see that it will be quite broad, or the topics are quite broad, but they are interconnected together with digital skills, and also the digital skills. We have this Eagle project, which is devoted especially to digital skills, as we mentioned before. So we will start with cybersecurity and cybersecurity issues. So the first question is, as businesses are increasingly using the power of data nowadays, the concerns related to the data security and cybersecurity are growing. What are the most pressing cybersecurity threats that organizations usually face right now? So maybe we can start with Dagmar Omelková, if you want.
Sorry, I'm Susanna.
Oh, sorry.
Nice to meet you.
Sorry.
Thank you very much for your question. First of all, yes, if you are not using data analysis, you are blind because you don't have information. So information is momentarily, in this time, the most value, we can say, the thing what you have in your company. So it's very necessary to protect all the information what you have. The biggest threats still are the phishing campaigns, still is ransomware, so I think you know what does it mean, ransomware. Then the new thing is voice phishing or wishing, so you are not using computers for hacking, but you are using the cells, the mobiles. And the new era is not about the technical skills or mathematical skills for hackers, but it's psychological skills and psychological skills. So if you know how to manipulate with the people, you are the winner. So these are the new threats in the world.
Thank you very much. I know that your company is providing services, cybersecurity services to SMEs as well. So what are the most common services that you are providing to them?
Yes, we are providing the whole assessment about the cybersecurity. I really like to use not just cybersecurity, but cyber resilience, what Mr. Gersnell said. Because resilience is a better word for cyber, and we offer the analysis because we have in Slovakia we have strong law about the cyber security or cyber resilience. Also now it's new legislative coming from EU called NIS2. So we are offering all the analysis, then also vulnerability scanners, penetrating testers, then CM and SOC services or security as a service. Maybe you know what that means. So this is our offer.
Thank you so much. Okay, maybe we can continue also with our speakers online. We have also 2 experts on cybersecurity online. So the next question is, are there any cybersecurity vulnerabilities or problems of SMEs that should be more emphasis or that should be more focus on? So maybe Professor Stilitis, if you want to continue.
Greetings.
Hello.
Greetings from Vilnius. Do you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. So thanks for the question. My name is Darius Štitilis. So yes, I think there are several cybersecurity vulnerabilities and problems that particularly relevant to small and medium-sized enterprises. And I can emphasize several of them. For example, limited resources and expertise, lack of employee training, outdated software and systems, dependence on third-party vendors that which can introduce some risks, compliance challenges, insufficient incident reporting planning, but I want to emphasize 2 of them. So regarding employee training, it was already mentioned that one of the largest vulnerabilities in any organization is human error. Employees who are not trained in cybersecurity best practices can cause security breaches by failing for phishing scams, using weak passwords, mishandling sensitive data, and I want to present one quite new example. National Cybersecurity Center of Lithuania in December of last year organized some exercise during which more than 40,000 employees of more than 100 organizations were sent fake letters, and thus their ability to recognize messages from online fraudsters pretending to be postal service was tested. And the results show that after receiving a message about undelivered package and a call to update personal contact data, about 14% did not recognize and took potentially harmful actions. It means that 1 in 7 employees in Lithuania did not recognize a cyber threat. By the way, Lithuania is very high ranking in cybersecurity ratings. For example, in ITU cybersecurity index, Lithuania belongs to top 10 countries. According to Estonian rating, is on the 2nd place in the world. So this is the reality, what we face. And the second one I want to emphasize regarding compliance challenges. Yes, one of the problems ensuring legal compliance in SMEs. However, it should be understood that SMEs are less regulated or not regulated at all in terms of cybersecurity in some cases. For example, according to this directive, so-called critical infrastructure and essential service providers are basically regulated only according to NIS 2 directive, which must be transposed to national laws this year, by August this year. The critical infrastructure sectors are expanding. However, under this directive, there could be identified cybersecurity subjects of 2 levels, critical sectors and important sectors level. An entity operating in the listed sectors falls within the scope of this directive if it's a large or medium enterprise. This means that such company has 50 or more employees and has annual revenue balance sheet of 10 million euros or more. And we should understand that regulated part will be very small of all number of all companies in every country. So this directive does not apply to small and medium enterprises, with some exceptions, of course. So the most medium-sized and especially small businesses are out of the directive requirements. But, however, it should be remembered that all companies process personal data. Actually, all companies do, and are subject to GDPR requirements. So, to ensure security of personal data. So, I mean that these requirements are very similar to cybersecurity requirements. Thus, if a company, even small company, does not fall to cybersecurity requirements, it must comply with personal data security requirements, and we know that sanctions according to the GDPR are quite big. So in terms of cybersecurity regulation, most of SMEs are out of NIS and NIS2 directives, but are subject to regulation of GDPR. So we should understand this.
Thank you very much. So, are there any potential other best practices, maybe from Finland? Jarkko, if you could continue.
Yes, hello all. So, thank you for Darius for making this point out that the SMEs are not part of the, for example, NIS2, but I think that still many SMEs are part of the critical infrastructure protection also. So we must understand, and SMEs must understand their role of the supply chain. And I think that is one of the biggest threats at the moment. The attackers are trying to find the weakest link in the whole value or supply chain and initiate attacks from those nodes. And I think the kind of for SMEs, the general awareness on the cybersecurity threats should be present, because after the war in Ukraine, the cybersecurity landscape has been very rapidly evolving, and even though the normal companies are not the target of some cyber attack, but because there are no geographical distances in the internet, then when the cyber warfare is ongoing, there will be also collateral damage to the other parts of the network. So I would emphasize that all companies, no matter what size, they can be kind of the target for the cyber attack, even though they are not the initial target. And what we have seen, especially in very small companies in Finland, that they do not have resources for the cybersecurity. It's part of the basic IT. It means that they cannot purchase SOC services, CM services at all. And sometimes when there is maybe one or two IT guys in the company, and they may say that, okay, our business is not interesting to any kind of attacker or hacker, but then they forget the fact that they have the data that is valuable for them. And then, for example, being part of the ransomware attack, the whole business could be ending if they lose their data. So this kind of understanding also for the very small companies is important. So what is happening around cybersecurity at the moment.
Thank you so much. And are there any potential way or how SMEs can solve this problem related to the human element in cybersecurity, for example, such employee awareness and cybersecurity culture within the company? What do you think, maybe from Finland and also from Lithuania?
Yes, if I start very briefly, of course, it starts that the company has to have a security policy. So the management of the company have to give the guidelines and then make sure that the policy is enforced so that the people act as has been agreed inside the company, and then training and training. It has to be a continuous process.
Yes, and in Lithuania we called it formal compliance, when there are a lot of policies in place, but they are not implemented in practice. Regarding training, I would emphasize not only theoretical training, but also simulation exercise. Conducting regular simulation exercise like phishing emails can test employees' knowledge and preparedness for the real attacks. And this is very important. And also, I would emphasize role-specific training, because different roles may require specific cybersecurity training. For example, IT staff needs detailed technical knowledge, while others need just general cyber hygiene, and et cetera, et cetera. And for example, IT people, we should talk with IT people what is personal data even, because the understanding is quite low in some cases. And of course, training should also focus on creating a general cybersecurity culture within organizations. That is very important.
Thank you so much. Maybe Ms. Omolka want to add something to this discussion?
Yes, you know, in Slovakia, the biggest problem in SMEs is that they are thinking, oh, we are in Slovakia, we're a small country, nobody wants to, you know, attack us because we are not, you know, the rich company or well-being company or something, and we are small, who's interesting? And that is not true. Slovakia is usually like a playground for hackers, because they know they are, we are not well protected, so they are, you know, starting their first hacking experience in our environments. I have a question maybe for you. What do you think, how long is a hacker in your infrastructure from the beginning to the end? So when you maybe realized that someone is in your infrastructure on its ransomware start, how long it is? How many days?
We have like practical experience with this.
Yes, I know.
At our university, so I'm not sure, maybe 3 months, 2 months, I don't know.
More.
More, even more?
More. Average is 290 days. It's the hackers in your environment. So, you know, he knows or they knows everything about your company, about all the persons in the company. Not only about, you know, how he can turn off the lights or something or erase your data. So the most important thing is to start with critical thinking, so you know that something could happen or can happen. That's the first thing. Don't think that you are small and not interesting for anyone. That's not the truth. Because also 500 euros from thousands of small companies, it's a big budget for hackers. They don't only need, you know, the big companies with 10 millions ransoms. It's a different way. So critical thinking is the first thing. And then you will be maybe future CEOs or members of executive management or board of directors. My experience when I'm, for example, doing the practical trainings for companies is, you know who's the first person who's told you that, sorry, I don't have a time for training? It's usually CEO and other management. But you will be the leader, so you need to show the culture of your company that you are smart thinking and critical thinking, and it's necessary for you to protect your company and your employees. So you need to be the first who will be sitting in the room and listening what the lecturer said to you. And for example, also the tabletop testing. So you are just imagining, okay, so what if the ransomware once I'm, early at 6 o'clock, we recognize that we have a ransomware. What if? So you just start to prepare for scenarios. You don't need to be really hacked. So you just need to practice all these scenarios and processes and everything, procedures. So this is maybe my recognition for you to start thinking in a critical way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we will continue with data analytics. Data analytics is related to cybersecurity, of course, because we should have also our data secured. So we will continue with data analytics, and maybe the question is how SMEs can use this tool, data analytics, to fulfill their business goal and ensure that data analytics contribute to business success. So please, James, if you can join this discussion.
Sure, yeah. So hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So I suppose from the data analytics perspective, historically, companies have been collecting vast amounts of data, but they've typically been doing very little with it. So they'll have data stored in poorly structured forms in inappropriate places, very hard to access and very hard to model. So the really thriving, I suppose, nimble SMEs are able to properly monetize that data. So stuff like if you're customer facing, constructing ad or marketing campaigns that target customers without alienating others through excess spam. If you're a logistics company, it's about identifying efficiencies where I suppose you could reduce the cost of producing services, providing services, and so on. So from a general perspective, the real benefit to SMEs of data analytics is discovering where they're making all their money, how they could potentially leverage that further, and then just identifying sources of risk and so on.
Thank you very much. And are there any common pitfalls or challenges that SMEs could encounter when developing their data strategies in general?
Yeah, so typically, well, one, it's data store. Well, you've already touched it from a cybersecurity perspective, where there's a risk of one, their data being hacked or whatever. Two, it's ensuring that they meet GDPR requirements from the perspective of EU law and so on. That's actually a surprisingly common problem, that your customers have agreed to provide the data that you're collecting. And then more generally, it's access to talent really is what we find. So there's been it probably touches on something we may discuss later, but there's been quite a boom on the consultancy services side of things. So the likes of Accenture, EY, Deloitte, KPMG, all of these consultancy companies have been hugely ramping up their hiring of people with tech skills, data analytics over the last number of years. And that's specifically to meet the shortfall of people with this talent and companies who have this need. So in that space, it's just that the people who are building the models for you aren't really doing what you want them to do, but are using some off-the-shelf solution that gives you some off-the-shelf insights that might look interesting in general, but aren't really that beneficial to the business.
Thank you very much. And regarding to the skills, like analytical, computational skills in SMEs, are there any lack of this kind of skills in your country, in Ireland, or do you feel
No, of course. So there's a huge lack of these skills more generally. So there's kind of been an explosion of even a third level academic offerings to students. So basically, you can see that there's this deficit of skills by virtue of the amount of people consultancy houses are hiring. So they obviously see that this is a sustained pipeline of work for them because so many companies find it hard to attract people. A real difficulty in that space is if you're not a data literate company, you're just a traditional kind of mom and pop type store. You don't really have an appreciation for how much you should pay someone with tech skills. So there is a big gap between what small companies want to pay highly qualified tech graduates, because they can go work for a big tech company like Google and get paid a lot of money, or whereas these companies used to hiring people on lower salaries. So there is this kind of discrepancy at that end. And I suppose more generally, you see some of this need is being met by the likes of ChatGPT, so especially from a marketing perspective, some strategy, some coding. A lot of the online kind of consultancy service providers like Fiverr, Upwork, these sorts of companies, their revenues aren't growing as quickly as they were historically because more and more people are embracing things like ChatGPT to eliminate that need for consultancy. And in an Irish context, how they've tried to address these gaps are through a lot of upskilling of existing staff. So you might see that some part of your business would be regarded as a sunset type business. It's going to decline in the long term. And instead of laying those people off, they're trying to upskill them for sunrise industries, which is things like digital skills. So in Ireland, particularly because I guess the Irish government views as a tech hub, they provide a lot of supports to companies. So innovation vouchers where companies can get a couple of €1,000 to approach a university staff member, particularly in tech, who do something for them and check the viability of a product. And then on the training side, so we have a number of online diplomas in things like data analytics and business and process design. So in each of these, there's a number of modules on visualization, data management, modeling, and so on. So a lot of it in that space, there's been a huge uptake on people just taking online digital training to upskill.
Thank you so much. Okay. And now we can continue with AI. We have here expert on AI ethics and also data ethics as well. So please, Stefan, can you briefly mention some potential benefits and risks associated with the adoption of AI as emerging technology nowadays in firms, especially maybe SMEs?
Thank you for the question. That's right. AI is very popular nowadays. There is even this big wave of hype about artificial intelligence in society and especially in the media. And in fact, AI is amazing technology. It can improve our lives, our companies, our society in some ways. For example, AI can increase productivity, encourage creativity, do boring work for us, do it many tasks much faster. So in general, AI has great potential for use, for example, in medicine, education, and business. And yes, AI can bring us money. That's something what people want to hear sometimes. And about risks, yes, well, we can distinguish these risks into long-term and short-term. And excessive attention is often paid to the long-term risks. For example, AI can destroy humanity or enslaving humanity, but these long-term risks such as this are also unrealistic, almost impossible, and are not actual in these days. And then there are short-term risks that we should be paying much more attention, in my opinion. These are risks associated with privacy protection, biases, discrimination, manipulation, misinformation, and others. The problem arises when we don't know what AI can and can't do. We need this realistic approach to AI. And AI is a tool that can help us, but also it can harm us. But all depends on us. I mean, what we do with this technology and how we do. I mean, how we create this technology and why we create it is important. Our intentions, our goals and values are very much important in relation to artificial intelligence. And this is very crucial, in my opinion.
Thank you so much. As I mentioned before, you are particularly focused on problem of ethics in AI, which is really interesting issue for me. Can you briefly explain what it's all about and why it should be important for us?
AI ethics is a subdiscipline of applied ethics. Artificial intelligence ethics deals with the investigations of moral problems and the dilemmas which are related to the research, development, deployment, and also to use of artificial intelligence. AI ethics asks how this technology could improve our lives, what risks arise from it, especially related to our lives and values. It deals with how to ethically develop artificial intelligence systems and technologies and AI ethics. And that's what we do at Kempelan Institute of Intelligent Technologies, shortly KINIT. We help clients and companies to assess potential benefits and risks, and we also help them to develop and cultivate this moral sensitivity to those potential moral problems with AI. And not only solving problems is important, in my opinion, much more important and crucial is prevent them. And that's something what can be very useful for companies to prevent these problems before them arises in process.
Okay, thank you so much. So AI is one of the emerging technologies nowadays, as I mentioned, but also there are several others which are maybe more developed, like robotics, automation. These two stand out as perhaps the most developed transformative forces for companies and also for SMEs. How can this technology help SMEs achieve better economic results and gain like competitive advantage in their industries? So please, Enrique, if you can continue.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. In principle, whatever repetitive or recurrent task can be receive the benefits of robotics and automation, but it's especially interesting if the task that we are going to automate is not safe, or is not ergonomic, or is too heavy or too hard, really, no? The introduction of the robotics and automation in industry provides a better quality in the process, also improve the competitiveness of the companies, and also reduce the time of the processes and so on. So really it's very interesting to introduce robotics in the industry.
Okay, and are there any potential problems or what are the most common problems when implementing these technologies in companies in general?
One of the biggest problems, I think, is the people, because technology is nothing without people. So really we need people that configure the technology, to deploy the technology, to introduce the technology in the company, and to teach how to use the technology in the best way with the other people that are working with the technology. So really it's needed to have people working with the technology. So technology is nothing without people. And to achieve that, really, what is needed in the companies is try to introduce this kind of knowledge in the companies. It's a really challenge in companies to find people that are trained with this technology, really. And one kind of project like Eagle, it's very useful to help the companies to introduce this kind of technologies in the companies.
Okay, so it's more about people, yeah, not about technology, but actually more about people. Okay, so are there any other potential ways how they can overcome these problems, or it's only like upskilling, or are there any potential other ways maybe how you can recommend them to overcome these problems?
Yes, I think the best way to introduce robotics in a process is just to perform a small demo with just, we could say, in laboratory, to try to replicate a process that you have in production. And if it's working, and maybe you need some time, I don't know, some months to improve the process step by step, and when it's working the process well, you can deploy this technology to the other factories that you have in the company. I think it's a good approach.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I think we also can have questions from Slido. I'm not sure if some of you already sent some questions to us, but you can join us on Slido. So, okay, so we will wait, and if there are any questions from this audience also. Okay, so there is one question.
Okay, so I have a question concerning AI ethics. You kind of gave like a very brief introduction to what we might face with AI ethics, but you didn't really touch upon, I think, like a fundamental part of like the AI software is that when it gathers data, its input is basically consisting from human artwork, human creation. It gathers data and reproduces it, kind of like you ask ChatGPT to write you something, and it writes you something based off of human data. Or like you ask it to reproduce a picture, and it reproduces a picture based on human data. So, and you can do this for free, but like who actually owns the data that is produced by ChatGPT if it is based off of other people's artworks or other people's original creative artwork?
Yes, I'm not sure if I understand well the question, but there are some issues, ethical issues, of course, related to ChatGPT, about authorship, of course, and well, ChatGPT and others applications like this are a bit controversial because there is very important to be transparent about how we develop these technologies, what data we use, if we do it in an ethical way or not. And this is something what is very interesting issue for AI ethics, of course. But also the safety of using these apps or other systems of artificial intelligence for people's behavior is a very interesting issue for AI ethics, because there is possible to manipulate people. We know that ChatGPT, for example, hallucinates sometimes. There is high risk to have a lot of misinformation from these sources, etc. And maybe other issues, what are interesting for AI ethics. There is the problem of biases, which are included in datasets. Very often, we made some research in Campbell Institute on gender biases in applications which translate, or some issue like anthropomorphization of artificial intelligence is also very interesting, because we see that AI acts like human, but it is not human, it is not person, it hasn't any kind of form of human consciousness, but some people think something else, and this can be very confusing for them. Nowadays, some people, where they are confronted with some chatbots, they may be confused if they are communicate with people or robot, and this must be very transparent. And this is not only ethical issue, it's also something what must be and is issued in law. So, for example, these problems and others, of course.
Thank you for interesting question as well as answer. So if there are any other questions from this audience to any of our speakers.
So I wanted to ask whether it's possible to distinguish when a piece of work, an essay for example, has been written by AI whether it's possible to find the difference in the work submitted.
Yeah, it's very popular nowadays, so questions about AI mostly. Okay.
Well, depends is a very technical question. And I'm a ethician, I'm a philosopher, but of course, there are some applications also based on artificial intelligence, and they are able to assess some texts, and they can give us some rate of possibility if this text is original or is generated by AI. But it depends on the circumstances, I think.
Thank you. Any other questions? We have like 2 minutes for any potential question. So probably no questions. I'm not seeing any questions on Slido. So thank you so much. Thank you very much for all speakers, those online as well as those who are there in person. So thank you very much. And now we will continue with a short presentation of Hopero project, which is actually also related to artificial intelligence. So please, Michal Číš, if you can continue. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much indeed for having me today and for creating a platform for presenting our project Hopero here at your conference. And as it was already mentioned, Hopero project is very similar to the Project Eagle. We also tried to support small and medium-sized enterprises in Slovakia, basically with the digital transition in many different ways. We have a bit of different portfolio, I would say. We specialize on the adoption of the artificial intelligence tools within the SMEs environment, and maybe a bit of a context behind this project. In 2020, European Commission has decided to establish the network of European digital innovation hubs across the Europe within every single European member states, and basically the aim was to support SMEs with digital transformation. So we all know that SMEs are backbone of our society. For example, based on the recent study of European Investment Bank, 3/4 of jobs created in Europe are from the SMEs, and they also greatly contribute to the GDP, to the overall GDP in Europe. So it's inevitable to have the support of SMEs as a high priority for Commission as well as for the member states, and we need to help them somehow to survive the digital transformation, because if they want to keep their competitiveness on the market, they need to keep on the track with other companies and to innovate themselves, digitalize themselves, and tools like the European Digital Innovation Hubs are here for them to help them to overcome the challenges. And basically we are the consulting body So SMEs can come to us and we'll provide services to them in the various fields. We can help them to prepare their internal processes for the adoption of AI. We can help them to adopt AI tools in, for example, e-commerce. We can help them to include AI tools in their marketing, management, change management, and many other ways. We do not only support SMEs, we are here also for public organizations who also struggle sometimes with the digital transition and how to use the advanced technologies in a practical way. So we also support municipalities, but also universities like Matěj Běl University and also some other public organizations. Maybe if you can give me another slide. So very briefly, we are a consortium of 4 partners. Our technological partner is Kempelen Institute of Intelligence Technologies that mostly involved with the adoption of AI tools for companies. I represent SAPIE, which is the independent non-profit organization here in Slovakia, and we support companies and create innovation ecosystem in Slovakia and, well, basically try to interconnect business with policymakers in order to boost the growth of innovation ecosystem in Slovakia. We also have a partner from the Slovak Academy of Sciences. It's a computing center, and basically their role in the consortium is that if any SME has a need to use high-performance computing, supercomputing power, they can provide the access to their supercomputer called Devana, and SMEs can use it for programming, doing analysis, modeling, and whatsoever. And our last partner is Civita, which is a consulting company here in Slovakia, and then they help companies with the access to financing. So they provide advising for SMEs when they want to submit project proposals for some public calls, public grants from, for example, Recovery and Resilience Framework or from the program Slovakia. And they also support companies when they need to find an investor or some private investors, so they can interconnect companies with investors. As I already said, we have different portfolios within our services. First of them is preparations for adoption of AI. So before you as a company use several tools of AI, you need to prepare yourself for that. You need to prepare your data. You need to prepare your internal management processes. You need to prepare your employees, of course. So we also do some reskilling and upskilling activities. Then, of course, we have a separate portfolio of activities with a focus on deployment of artificial intelligence tools. So we can, for example, give you a course on natural language processing, how you can use it in a practical way, predicted methods, deployment of AI models in your business portfolio, and we also focus on ethical aspects too. Then we have courses on financing of digital and AI solutions. So again, if there are any public available resources from different financial tools, we inform our clients about that. We help them to interconnect with potential angel investors or VC funds. And lastly, we also do many networking activities here in Slovakia, in the different cities, but also abroad. So one of our aims is to help companies to expand internationally, to find new markets, new partners abroad. So we organize business missions to abroad. Very soon we will go to the United States. We also plan to have a business mission for Slovak SMEs to Germany and later to Sweden. this year. Yeah. Since this is a project funded from public resources, from the European Commission and from the Slovak government, there is an administrative process behind. I will not bother you with details, but if a company is interested to get the service from Hopero, we need to do some administrative process because this support is a part of the de minimis aid. So we need to comply with all conditions of de minimis aid. So basically, clients need to apply, formally apply for our service. Then we will verify them if they are eligible for getting support from us, and then we need to sign a formal agreement between us. But it's important to say that all our services are for free, also for private companies, but we do it in a way of de minimis. And lastly, since we are on the academic field, and I'm sure there are many representatives of academia, we have recently prepared a service specifically for universities. We have a first client in Bratislava, which is the Bratislava University of Economics and Management, and we prepare with them quite a broad portfolio of what we will do together. There are 3 parts, and the first one is that we will have a dedicated lectures for students on AI or digital related content. We have three courses. Basically, the first one is the introduction to the field of artificial intelligence. Then we will have a lecture on the responsible AI, how to use AI in a safe way that it complies with all regulations or the fundamental rights and values in Europe. And then we also have a course on digital transformation on companies, what companies need to do to prepare themselves for the digital age. In the second phase, we will also have a workshop for educators on how to use generative AI content and different AI tools in the educational system as such. And within the third phase, in the year of 2025, we plan to include AI-related topics to various courses like management, marketing, public administration course, e-government, and many more, because the artificial intelligence is interdisciplinary topic, and it does not only relate to the IT world, but it will completely change the many other portfolios as well. So that's it from my side. You can find more information on our website, hopper.sk, or you can send us an email to me or to my colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for a presentation of your really interesting project. And now we will continue with panel 2 section devoted to blockchain and energy systems. So give us please like 1 or 2 minutes and we will continue. So please, Richard Čambura, Martin Bitara, and Dagmar Juchelková, please join us here. Okay, so let me introduce you Professor Dagmar Juchelková from Technical University of Ostrava, Czech Republic. Richard Ščambura, partner at Orca Limited, Czechia, as well. And Martin Bitara, CEO Ocasio, founder of crypto fund Distruptio, Slovakia, and Dr. Ivan Sedlečík from Matej Bell University in Banská Bystrica. Okay, so as I mentioned before, another topic is related mostly to the blockchain and also to the energy system as well. So what are the specific challenges that SMEs currently face in their traditional business, and how can blockchain technology and Web3 address these challenges maybe effectively? So I don't know who wants to start, but maybe Richard Ščambura, if you want to.
Yeah, first of all, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not there.
Oh, it's actually
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to me. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Richard Ščambura, and as it was mentioned, I'm a partner co-founder of Orca Limited, public limited company. We are originated here in Slovakia. Our main headquarters is in Košice, Slovak Silicon Valley, and I'm a representative responsible for our Prague branch. And let me express a great pleasure that I'm here because I'm a former student of Matej Bell University, exactly Faculty of Finance. It doesn't exist, but never mind. So it's really nice to be here after the quarter of century, something like that. So it's a big, big pleasure. Many thanks. Again, so let's go to the topic, blockchain. Well, now we are in era of AI, and blockchain is maybe not so often topic up to date, but from my point of view, because I'm also an SME entrepreneur, so there are a lot of use cases or challenges how small and medium companies have to survive or solve various crucial situations up to date. So one of this is lack of trust on transparency. For example, a lot of companies, they are members of supply chains and they do not know each other efficiently. They do not have a lot of interesting information and necessary information, and blockchain is maybe one of the way how to solve it. Our company is a conceptual-based development company, so the blockchain is not only the one way how to solve the problems, it's only one of the way how to solve it. It's only a tool. So it have to have a proper solution, and you just have to find out the proper way how to use it. Another way, for example, how to use a blockchain is in supply chain. As I mentioned, you are able to improve the reputation of business partner, for example, and to improve the flow of documents, goods, and services, because it's transparent, it's really fast, and so on and so on. After that, it can reduce transactional costs, and so on. For example, there are modern platforms, and you are able to have additional financing. For example, up to date, you are able to tokenize assets. You are able to be the part of crowdfunding platform, and in that way hire some additional funds, and so on and so on. For example, blockchain is a good way how to improve your security, to secure data. We use it, for example, in our case, it's just like another layer to the actual solutions. And for example, you are able to protect your intellectual property. For example, solution is NFT, and so on and so on. So for me, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, you already mentioned that a blockchain can enhance transparency and security. And maybe the question is, how may this directly impact to day-to-day operation and reputation of SMEs? Do you have any answer on this? Maybe also Martin Bitara as well.
Okay, I'd like to add to what my colleague was saying, that
I'm from the finance field, so to me, I'm looking more on the side of the cash flow and financing. So blockchain to me is a way to improve cash flow. For instance, in regards to payments receivable or payments payable, you can streamline the process. So it's very easy for anybody to trust the other side if you have a smart contract between the two and not 4 or 5 different institutions like banks and clearing banks and so on and so forth. And yeah, streamline transactions as well, especially cross-border, because they could be quite cumbersome and not very easy to do. So in DeFi or decentralized finance, you can basically tap into that field to get financing. So you don't have to rely on traditional banks and banks in Slovakia or in Ireland where you used to live. They are all the same, right? If you have the good times, they're throwing money at you. But once the economy starts to slow down, they will just keep their money to themselves. So companies can struggle during those times, and if they don't have sufficient reserves, they may go under. And in DeFi, they don't care. They literally just basically look at your balance sheet. It's on the blockchain, and you can basically get some funding over there as well. So,
thank you so much. Okay, and how can blockchain and Web3 empower SME to access maybe some new markets and streamline cross-border transactions? So maybe Ivan Sedliacek, you want to?
Thank you. Blockchain is worldwide, and blockchain has no borders. Blockchain has no permissions, and that's a very good start point for SMEs to start their business in the other part of the world, which they would not think of. And we have lots of examples of small SME startups that developed a blockchain system, and they're using it, for example, for remittances. So if you're unbanked, if you're living in a country where banks are scarcity and you are too poor to have an account, or you don't have a ID card like a quarter of India population, then you cannot have a bank account, and then you cannot have a loan or a transaction. So those restrictions or problems blockchains are eliminating, and you need just wallet, you need to have just one app, and you can start to transact, and there are no borders for the transaction. So that's one of the examples, and I think it's from our perspective in Central Europe, it's maybe we don't see it as a urge to have it, but if you go to India, if you see blockchain implementations, blockchain usage, crypto usage, we all have synonym as blockchain equals crypto, but that's frontier. And if you check all the statistics of the wallets of the users, they're not from Central Europe where everything works, or US, but it's from underdeveloped world where there is a financial exclusion, and that's a good start. And that's one of the examples. Of course, we have seen the war and sanctions, and those sanctions sanction not only the bad guys, but also good guys. And we are at university, and I have many students who are coming from different regions, and they are not war criminals, but they were excluded from the financial world. They were excluded from SWIFT. They were excluded from payments, from living from payment services. And blockchain is the answer for connection, for no borders. So blockchain has no SWIFT. Blockchain has transparency and efficiency. So I think it's lots of things which SMEs can think of, and they can start, of course, with our crash course on the blockchain in SMEs, and we'll be happy to provide them basic knowledge, and they can further elaborate on the use cases and implementing blockchain in their real life, business life.
Okay, so
may I just add one example? We don't really need to go global. We are a Slovakian company, and we have clients from Slovakia and from Czech Republic as well. And the difference between SEPA payments and euro and the Czech crown, it is quite clear that if we would have basically people on blockchain, we would be able to receive those transactions pretty easily. But just think about it, because we're so used to euro, we don't have to change the currency, but the Czech clients do have to change the currency, and they really are not happy when they are hit with massive fees just to basically change Czech crowns to euro. And also it takes a while, right? Because basically the SEPA payment isn't instant, which in the blockchain is literally just a few minutes, essentially seconds, depending on what blockchain you're actually using.
Yeah, so we could say that the blockchain is supporting international growth of the company all over the world, yeah, in general, maybe. So what are the other success stories, maybe, or some case studies which are demonstrating this positive effect of blockchain? You mentioned maybe one. Also, maybe if Richard want to mention other, or Ivan.
Thank you. We have several examples of usage of blockchain technology. Our company, as I mentioned, is developing IT development company, so we have had several projects. One of really interesting project, it was in Slovak legislation. It's not, but for example, in Czech country and abroad, there are widely spread, let's just say, it's family offices or trust or wealth management companies, and our company developed a pretty smart application how to handle the trust. In Slovak language, Zverenecký fond, in Czech language, Svěřenecký fond. It's pretty widespread nowadays. A lot of Slovak entrepreneurs or maybe well-situated people would like to use it. And we have to digitalize all the trust, how to create it, how to handle it, manage it, and so on. And a very interesting part of it was that the blockchain was another security layer, and it has a really strong notarization function. Then you don't have to only have a notary deed, that it's really close and really important in the life of your trust. But this notary deed can be made in the way of blockchain. So you record it to the blockchain, and it's visible or transparent to the certain people. But you have to choose a proper blockchain network, because you have several kinds of blockchain networks. One is permissionless, and some is permissioned. So you have to choose the right one.
The question was the success stories, so that's inspirational for SMEs. And when I teach our blockchain courses at university to university students, we often use example of one South American airline company which started to sell airline tickets, flight tickets via NFTs, via tokens which are on the blockchain. And that's direct answer. If you're a company, airline company, you can imagine what it is and what costs are to have a secure information system for making tickets work. And that's one of the examples. This tokenization, it's the future word of the blockchain. And the experts in this area, they are agreeing that tokenization is, you can tokenize anything. You can tokenize assets, you can tokenize services or access or whatever, business cards or access to medical reports. You can tokenize different things. And airline ticket is a service, or flight is a service, and the access, the right access and secured access to your flight boarding pass via NFT, via special token is one of the examples. And there are two things about efficiency. Companies, SME can be efficient if they increase the sales or they decrease the costs. So on the cost side, I think we have explained that blockchain might be a cost reduction technology. Not always, but in some cases. And on the revenue side, think about publicity. If you are a company which needs clients, you need a publicity, you need advertisement. And we are very early on blockchain and crypto. And if you are really early adopter, if you're a company which is providing service first in the country or first in the region, you are going to receive free publicity, free ad. And this success story is now told in different regions of the world, and this airline or other company can enjoy free revenues or well, free ads and more revenues and more efficiency.
I also, one of my friends, they have pretty success story too. They run their own application, a blockchain diploma, is in Czech Republic, and it's about university degrees, diplomas, and you are able to store your diploma to the blockchain. So it's pretty nice. It's blockchain diploma.cz, something like that, and it's running on a Hyperledger Fabric. And all this project is covering also by Ella Blockchain Services, a pretty nice institution in Czech Republic who is promoting and making good name of blockchain in Czech Republic, because it's, let's just say, on something like state level. So it's pretty fine.
Thank you very much for these interesting examples how the blockchain can be used in companies or SMEs as well. And we can see that this is very rapidly evolving technology nowadays. So how we can stay informed and educated about blockchain? Are there any potential ways how we can stay still in contact, have enough information about blockchain as well as cryptocurrencies, which are connected to some extent to blockchain as well? So if someone wants to.
Education is, of course, not only university, but I would start with the university. And as I mentioned, we have university courses on blockchain, and you can join the courses also not as a student. And our project, our Eagle project, is developing new course for especially tailor-made for SMEs. So that's another chance, and that's the question of future few months. But of course, there are other sources, and we have heard about in the keynote speech that there might be different sources of education, YouTube education, MOOC courses education, different universities you can access. One of my first blockchain experiences was the MIT course. MIT is a big university in the US, and Gary Gensler, if you know the name, he is now, it's paradox, but he is now the anti-crypto, because he's fighting for the government, for the president of the United States, and of course the Western institutions. But maybe 9 years ago or 8 years ago, he was a professor who was teaching, giving lectures, lessons about blockchain. So, of course, there are lots of sources, and I think my colleagues will complement me.
Certainly, what I would avoid is searching too many sources online, because blockchain is it is vast, and it really depends on the area you're trying to actually go to. If it's infrastructure, or if it's basically IT segment, or if it is finance. So I actually would suggest to go to universities, even though blockchain should be decentralized. I believe that formal knowledge is better than just to go online and searching on Google, because like there's so much of conflicting information outside that basically you can. Let me put it this way. About 3 years ago, I started to research DeFi. And I can tell you every week somebody said that this is not something that will survive, and the other person was saying this is the future and will come tomorrow. And they're not right or wrong. It's literally just the huge amount of information is just massive. So if you can go to university, which they will basically just chunk it down to little bits and pieces, and it's easier to learn rather than to do it on your own. At least that's what I would suggest. Oh, I hate YouTube videos, by the way. They're just not really cool.
Okay, thank you so much. One thing which connected this, which actually is very common for blockchain, not all of them, but proof of work blockchain especially, is that they're considered as too energy demanding and environmentally harmful. So are there any potential solutions of these problems? Can we see some solutions?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, I don't think it is that resource heavy, or at least if you compare it to the traditional financial system as banking or Visa or Master, they're using actually much more energy to transact transactions on a traditional way. But even in Slovakia, we have people going to South America to set up mining operations over there, which are basically powered by geothermal, which is well, it's neutral, if not negative. So yeah, absolutely, you can do that. But the future, I believe, it's in proof of stake rather than proof of work.
Proof of stake. Okay.
I would add on my colleague that, of course, there are lots of examples like using geothermal energy. You can argue, or the advocates, green advocates can argue that this could be used otherwise than for a proof of work blockchain concept. That's partially true, but partially not, and depends where you have this geothermal or where you have this source. So lots of sources are not reaching the network, electricity network, or heat network. And if you study, lots of examples are those which cannot be utilized. They're far distant to connect. So otherwise the energy would just go in the air. And so geothermal or if you imagine the oil pumps and the gas pumps, and if you have seen the movie or shots of the burning gas, there are use cases where the miners who are using this energy for this proof of work concept, they're running really lots of computers with lots of power demanding lots of electricity. So they come to these places and they install turbines which are generating in isolation electricity, and they are consuming the electricity for this blockchain system. It's, of course, for newcomers, it's lots of new terms, but this is one way, and there are some other examples like experiments on the heat pumps. Heat pumps are very popular in Slovakia for heating your houses or other rooms, and bunch of entrepreneurs created a heat pump on the sea, on the ship, on the equator, and they are generating electricity on the ship island, I would call it, and they're consuming electricity. So they're running the mining computers, and this is part of the security system, especially for Bitcoin blockchain. And I would finish that I agree with my colleague that proof of stake is the future of most blockchains, but still proof of work, which demands electricity, is the future of Bitcoin and maybe some other blockchains. But when we think of Bitcoin and energy consumption, if you see the mining process and statistics, and it's connected with the mined number of bitcoins which are mined already, we are, I would say 80%, maybe I'm wrong. So in terms of energy usage, we are probably maybe 80% behind. So 80% is already spent, and only 20%. And there are some other applications like Lightning Network, which is the other layer which is not consuming, and we don't need to consume that much electricity. So I'm optimist. I think the energy-wise, the blockchain will have no problems in the future, and entrepreneurs will find the best solutions.
Okay, so now we are in the topic of energy systems, actually. So we are very happy that we have here also expert on this topic. So please, Professor Juchelková, what are current trends in energy systems, and what kind of innovation in the field can be implemented in companies, in SMEs as well?
Thank you for invitation. And actually, now it should be better. Thank you for invitation there. I am happy to be here and listen to the energy consumption. But everybody here is actually the energy consumption. Everybody of us is using computer, handies, like to have lights here, heating, but we have a different needs. And on the other side, we have also different production. And at the end, we have a different meaning about the energy production. Quality, stability, financial contents of this. And because I'm working also for the International Energy Agency, and I'm working at the energy field all my life, I know everything will change. So our course and our deal, what we are offering for the SMEs, for big companies, for the students, it's thinking in the global way, because not only Czech Republic is going of the way of renewable energy sources, they are nice. Environmental safety, we are happy. We will produce a better future for our children. But on the other side, the price, it's not good. The stability is not good. The safety of this type of energy is not good. And it's geographical problems. It's a social problems. And at the end, it's time problems, because you are producing the electricity mostly at the time, what are you not consuming? So you need to handle it. You need to make a business of the communes. You need to handle with the companies and make a business at the local level and bring it up, not only from the top. You mentioned here heat pumps. It's great. We have now a huge business also in the Czech Republic. Everybody could have a heat pumps at home. Good. That's great, actually. But at the end, only small points are troubles there. You have not possibility to build it directly at your house. It's noisy. You need the electricity for this heat pump. The price of the electricity is increasing. So how are you saving actually the environment? Because you need some more electricity sources. So good, there's solution. You could use the accumulation of energy. That's great, it's actually solved. What are you saying here for troubles? Yeah, good. So we need the critical materials. The accumulation, it's also not stable. How much I need to accumulate? Good. I need to have a data. I need to have accumulation of saving of this data, and this is like a line of not problems, We have no problems. We have only challenges. And sorry, the young people are not here, but there are challenges for the young people to be creative, to think about the new future, because it's necessary to solve it. But nowadays, it's not solved. It's not easy just to say we will like to save the environment. Go green. Green Deal, it's the best way. Yes, I agree. Just not for me, not yet. But in the future, it will be the solution. So sorry, I used my time, I know, but if I'm calculate, you use more time than me, so sorry.
Okay, maybe what are the reasons why the company should think about energy system in general and usage of this energy system? Why me as, I don't know, a CEO or someone have to think about energy systems in general? Do you know? Do you have
I know it.
Yeah, okay.
It's pity it knows also the CEOs. Actually, we need to make a restructuralization of the energy sources, of the base. But still we need to save, we need to have a base of the energy, and upper time I can think of the other, let me say, balance of the energy. And if I'm here as CEO, what I'm interested in, to have a stable energy for my products. My products could be students, my products could be some data savings processes or algorithms, or steel production. Steel, we have steel production in the Czech Republic, but I don't know how long. But still have it. And if somebody tell me the energy will be there, but you need to wait for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. So it depends how long my technology will work without the energy. And if I, CEO, get information from my people, no trouble, that it's good. But I need to believe in this. And what we are providing, the information to this, not only CEOs, but also for the manager and the local people, that is necessary to think from A to C, not only then somebody is bringing me a new technology with high efficiency, low emissions production, and. But it can produce only 10% of energy what I need. What I make for the rest of 90%, that is actually a very crucial question for me. And how stable it is. Good. They said 90%. 90% is actually high. But if the 10% destroy my technology for 90 millions, I don't know if I will be satisfied with such a question.
Thank you so much for answer. We have also some other questions on Slido. I think we have like 5 minutes for these questions. So what do you think about energy tax? Oh, okay, so it's, again, maybe questions for you. Will this help reduce energy consumption? What do you think?
Yes and no. I like this answer from my German colleagues. They have such Jein. Sorry, we have not something in the Czech like this, but I like this. Jein is actually on everything. It's perfect. Because yes, if I should pay more for my energy, it's no matter if it's for the taxes or something others, I will think about this. How can I reduce it? For example, I can make a recommendation here for this university. If you are sitting here, the light should be not on. Because it's daily light there, we have the production, so we are saving almost 10% of the energy. So please, you could give me 10% of the saving energy. So it's just, yes, price is important, no matter if it's giving the rest of the money to the state or to somebody else. But on the other way, if you increase the energy and the price of the energy, I need it for my company, what can I do? I can change my technology production. That's the only way how can I save it. On the other ways, I need to pay for it. So it's not for the saving, it's just, yes, I can think about other ways. Just one remark to this, I know I need to use the time, sorry. Not only I'm only one woman there, so it should be also a ratio. But last time I have had a nice example from the chess. I am here not making a promotion of the chess, but they said we made a great data consumption and data analysis, and we saved actually by the running of turbines almost 30%, because we made a prediction what we will need, and we prepared already the turbine for better running processes. So it was not new technology, it was not new materials, it was not new energy process, but it was only better working with the data. And we are collecting a lot of data. But working properly with those data is something different. And we forgot sometimes about this.
Thank you. We have another question. It's a question that usually the problem is each model, in each model is the last mile. With blockchain, the last mile is the digital wallet. How should the end user think about security and reliability of the digital wallet provider, please? So I don't know who wants to answer this question.
As they say, not your keys, not your crypto. There's two different things, or maybe viewpoints. Either you have a centralized system, somebody else has the keys for you, like you would in a bank, or you have the keys yourself. I don't think one or the other is better or worse. It's just a different way of taking care of the wallet itself. So if you have your keys, it is your responsibility to take care of it. It's just like a safe in a house. You have the keys. If you lose it, good luck. You will not get into the safe. If you will send some sort of a silly transaction to somebody who's trying to defraud you, well, it's on you. There's no safety nets in crypto. It's basically, you send it, you can't get it back like with a traditional financial system. So you need to treat it as anything with value, basically. Keep it safe. Do not trust that the other person is telling the truth, but double check it, and only then use the wallet to transact whatever you're trying to transact, and always double check. It is the source, because that's crucial, especially with wallets which are using wallet addresses which are quite long. So you have like a Explorer, so you can actually double check it's the wallet you want to send it to, and it's the company which is actually owning the wallet. But yeah, that's how I would treat it. But soon, I think we're talking about custodial services like Fireblocks, Gobo, and so on and so forth, which are going to take care of the need of the crypto keys. So it should get a lot easier soon.
I would agree with my colleague, and would also add that there are different versions of digital wallet providers, and for simplicity, we can talk about custodial and non-custodial. And custodial means that somebody else has your keys and can help you, but also can make you problems, and can make a fraud or any other thing with your assets. And when you have non-custodial, which means that you rely just on the technology and no central party, no central provider, I think that question was focused on that part. Of course, at the end of the day, a digital wallet is a piece of software which you can put on your mobile or laptop or whenever on your hardware wallet. So, and that's also might be vulnerable, that can have bugs and attacks, etc., etc. But my answer would be reputation, and you would maybe ask why reputation. The reputation, if you go to Airbnb, you are asking reputation references, what the previous customers were satisfied or not. So the same thing is reputation in digital wallets. Number of users would be a good start point, and of course references. And there is a competition because it's a piece of software, and there is a competition also in this field. So the companies are trying to be the best and to have least vulnerability. So I think my answer would be the reputation.
Thank you very much. Now we have like 2 minutes maybe for some additional questions from the audience here, if there are any questions. So please. No? No questions? Okay. Oh, yeah, there is one question.
Thank you. Maybe just to elaborate on the previous question. So the promise of the blockchain was that you are getting rid of these bad banks and it's in your ownership. But with this question, it's kind of clear that you still need either the software or the custodial. So I guess your question is still the same, right? Who is going to be that? Either that third party or that software. So do you feel like from that angle, it really did not change, or do you feel like it's still the change promised where you don't need the intermediary, you don't need a third party?
If I may, it depends on the user. So if you have retail users, which are, let's say, they're not as reliable as human beings, and they will lose something very easily, like they did. About 25% of Bitcoin is literally lost because they lost the keys, they lost the shard, and that's that. The keys are gone forever. They're bound to use somebody who's gonna take care of that, so they will be using custodial services. If I'm looking at it from a perspective from like an institution, for example, a fund or anybody else, then they will be either having their own solution and transacting directly with different exchanges or custodians. But for retail, 90% will be just using basically some service, which like they do with OCP, or basically a broker which they're trying to buy anything on the exchange, be it CBOET or be it CME, they will be using some sort of a custodial services because that's just convenient, and humans are about conveniency rather than safety.
I would just quick remark. I think the good news is that at the end of the day, the end user has an option, has a possibility to be in the non-custodial environment, responsible for the assets, and of course that's responsibility also for choosing a type of wallet and service with this non-custodial. So I think still we have the option for the custodial services, as my colleague mentioned, and non-custodial is an option on top.
Okay, thank you so much. I would like to thank you very much for fruitful discussion and also for answering the questions. So this panel is now over, and we will continue with conclusion remarks of Bruno Zenon, who is head of Eagle project. So in a minute we will be continuing with the conclusion.
Thank you.
Okay. Don't touch this. Okay. Do you stay here? No, it's okay.
It's up to you. Maybe there if you want, or maybe better from there.
Okay. So, hello, good morning, everybody. I would like to take the chance first to thank the organizers of this event, which is very successful, and I found these very interesting discussions that are very related to the project we are here to work on and also present. I will explain in a little bit. So I just wanted to thank also Matea Bela University and our host Ivan, Jan, Katarina, and also Elena and Marina from SOPK, who were so nice as to host us our meeting in this university. I just would like to take the chance to present a little bit the project we are working on and the amazing work all our colleagues has made. So it will take just a couple of minutes to explain where is the point at which we are and what we expect from you as company owners or job seekers or last year students. So I prepared a couple of slides just putting into context the situation of the SMEs in Europe. As you can see, if we count the number of companies, almost 98.9 companies in Europe are SMEs. So it's the majority of companies, of course, they are medium or small-sized companies. Of course, there are a few big companies and multinationals that also contribute a lot to the economy, but well, for most of us, we are working in SMEs. The added value of these companies in the European economy, it takes like 35.3% of this value. If you see, Slovakia is a little bit higher than the EU mean, so well done, but also means that you have a lot of companies that probably will need some help in digitalization, as we have been all morning talking about this. Well, digital technologies are not going to go away, but rather on the contrary, they are going to be incorporated more and more into our daily lives. And for the small and medium companies in Europe, this seems to be a problem, okay? Because according to these statistics from Eurostat, as a mean, almost half of the companies were, well, on their own terms, they said they have a very low digital intensity index, which means they use they don't profit from these technologies in half of the cases. So this is a problem because, well, as we have been talking all this morning, there is a huge advantage in incorporating this into your processes. So the European Union saw a gap here between what we can achieve and what is being used now. So they put together a program which is called Digital, which tries to shorten this gap and improve the digital skills of European companies. So that's where our project comes up to try to meet this challenge. So our main objective is to deliver high quality and specialized training courses in key skills areas for SMEs and, well, also unemployed people and students, but mainly to try to take this digital knowledge or the digital literacy that we were introducing before by the keynote speaker to the companies. We have other small level objectives related to this one, which is, well, providing high level education and contents to the SMEs, managers and staff, help professionals to deploy digital solutions, make companies and universities work together, which are usually, each of us is in our own bubble, so the idea of the project is coming up to companies, seeing what do you need, what you are lacking, and trying to offer you any kind of teaching or crash courses so you can profit from digital technologies. So we put up together a consortium which is from all over Europe with 7 different countries. And one thing that I think is very positive in our case is the how the consortium is built, because we have a lot of universities there, as you can see in the upper row, but we have also a lot of businesses associations, digital innovation hubs, and all this ecosystem that helps us not prepare courses like at university level, which are very guided to students who don't have the same problems that small company staff, which probably are much more occupied and cannot come to the university for a long time. So given this consortium, we have managed to reach a lot of companies, get a lot of data and advice from companies of what they need, what they feel they are lacking, and we can put together a quite interesting offer of courses. Okay, these are like the main topic of the courses. We have currently six of them. They are related to every topic we have been discussing this morning. And as you can see, they are distributed along the 7 or 6 countries in Europe. But also we have been working in providing this kind of training courses probably in English. So maybe even if you are not based in a country where the most interesting course could be for you, you can join online and follow the course in English. They are delivered by highly specialized professors in the university. So probably you can find something that is interesting for you. As I was saying, our key points are that especially we have been at the first time of the project contacting SMEs and companies and taking into account what their advice is before putting together these courses. So we took into account time constraints from company staff, which usually cannot attend university as regular students. We try to prepare practical and applied activities, tutoring and guidance for you. And well, this kind of more directed courses for SMEs and personnel who are, of course, not as available as regular students. So the idea is to give you crash courses that put you up to date to this technology. Of course, they are not very long and they are not very, like you don't have the chance to go into kind of a lot of detail, but what we have learned, you can try to teach your own staff and find deeper applications of these technologies, okay? And as I was saying, there are a lot of opportunities also to follow the courses on English and online, so you don't need to come up to our universities, okay? And finally, just to keep up a little bit up to date to the project activities, as you can see, we started in January of last year, in 2023. The previous year we have been, as I said, working on contacting companies, getting a list of requirements, getting a list of advice on how we should do this. We are right now, as you see, starting the second year of the project, which means the courses are ready. They are almost ready to go. We are in the phase of promoting them and getting the participants in our courses. So now is the time, if you are interested in following this, where you can try to find if the course suits you and try to apply for it, for you or for any of your staff members. It's a little bit small, but if you cannot do this this year, don't worry, because there will be 3 editions of the courses. So if you cannot come in 2024, then there is also a chance on 2025. And if you are very interested, you can talk to us and we can try to prepare a special edition for different companies, or see if we can continue with this on the year 2026 if there is enough demand. So thank you very much for your attention. If you think you are interested or you can be a part of the target public of the project, please be sure that you get in contact in our social media or the main webpage, which is projecteagle.eu, where in a very short period of time we are going to upload all the information of the courses with the contents and the delivery methods. So if you are interested, please go to the website, and you can also subscribe to our newsletter, so we will be informing all of you about how the courses are proceeding. That's all on my part. Thank you very much again for your organization at the University Matia Vela, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bruno, for having this conclusion speech. Our conference is nearly ending. We have just 2 more minutes for practical information, and thank again for all speakers for their speeches. We have heard lots of inspirational discussions. We have heard inspirational keynote, and I think all of us can elaborate and can have a start point for future improving skills, upskilling or reskilling, which is the topic of our conference. So digital skills in SMEs conference is officially over. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your participation on the YouTube or MS Teams. And for those who are here in the room, I would like to invite you for last 2 things in the conference, which is the lunch and coffee break, which starts in 1 minute. So we'll be really exact, and that's very precious in these days. And this lunch is taking place in the other building, in the so-called old building, and it's the 2nd floor. So please note 2nd floor in old building, and you can there will be our colleagues who will take you to the meeting hall. It's called Ceremony Hall, Slávnostná aula, 2nd floor, old building, and the lunch and coffee break starts right now. Afterwards, we can have discussions on interpersonal discussions, B2B meetings, and networking. So you are all invited for lunch, and I hope that you had a good time. So thank you again, and have a nice day.
Oni by boli neskutočne nespokojní, keby som prídeme som pod situácia, že sme sa skôr nemohli tak toto zorganizovať, že hlavne ešte, keď to máte vlastne s chlapcom z Limeriku, takže áno, ja som ako na UCD a študoval UCD University College, takže to je tam na Southside. Bolo len ako turista, dobrovoľný dal, že to bolo dávno.